Hello. This is an intro for the video that is coming up. It's a long one. It's like, I think, 24 minutes, and I wanted to say a couple of things first. What the video is my answers to a subscriber's questions, and he wrote a couple of paragraphs of questions, and these are the things that I'm going to cover. Cost of housing, immigration, health insurance, and paying taxes in Mexico. But here's what I want to say first. I've reached a couple of milestones in my YouTube channel. One of them is I hit 1,000 subscribers, and I appreciate each and every one of you. The other milestone that I hit was I got some negative comments. Every YouTuber expects this, and it's kind of like a rite of passage, a milestone, if you will. So I got some, and hey, I'm not going to thank the jerks that left them, but I feel pretty good about it, actually. So what I wanted to say was, this is a long video, and for those of you who left comments that said, hurry up, get to the point, one of my favorites was, you really know how to make a short story long. And another one was, focus, 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 get to the point. That's not how this is going to work. So if you're one of those people, probably ought to just leave right now. Oh, here's another one. This one wasn't about me rambling and getting off of the subject, which I do, and that's the way it's going to work. Don't send money to this, what was the word? Creep. If you haven't figured out from watching my videos what my lifestyle is, you're missing something if you think I'm doing this for the money. So I have to agree with that comment. Don't send money to this creep. Well, hang on a second. Let's back up on that a little bit. If you happen to be Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Paul Allen, forget what I said. Send it. Bring it on. Hey, I hope you learned something in this. And another thing that I keep saying to people who want me to hurry up is, hey, if you just want the information about how the doctor costs, call the doctor. Or if you just want to know how that works, Google it. I'm here to answer questions and be helpful if I can, but I'm not here to hurry up. Thanks for watching. I was going to shut it off. Here's the deal. We're on Mexican time here. And once you retire and live in Mexico for all these years, concept of time is a little different. So shut this off and go find something that fits into your busy life, if that's what you need to do. Please enjoy my stories or whatever else might be on my mind today. Hi there. I'm up here in my bedroom again because Lynn's downstairs watching CNN, and I didn't think you probably wanted to listen to the news on CNN while you listened to me. I wanted to talk about my comments today, and the first thing that I wanted to say is thank you so much. I really enjoy this part of the process, answering questions and replying to comments. That brings me to answering comments and questions today. I ran into one that was so long that the response I wanted to give to it was more than I wanted to type, so I'm just going to talk about it. And I printed it out because my iPhone is too small to read, and I'm using my iPad, which I would read it on, to make this film, because my iPhone 6 has gotten a terrible noise in the audio. The video is fine, but the audio is nearly unusable. I've ordered another microphone to see if I can fix that. But now I've got that gimbal that I ordered that's made for the iPhone, and anyway, I'm using my iPad, so I printed it out. Here's the question. This is from Dawn Smoke. I don't know if Dawn Smoke is a man or a woman. And I thought, well, should I say their name? And then I realized, well, okay, Dawn Smoke, you put a public comment on my channel, so I guess it's okay to talk about you in public, because you talked about yourself in public. Dawn Smoke. And I don't know if that's a real name or if that's just something that Dawn Smoke does early in the morning. But here's the comment. And there are a lot of subjects brought up in it that I wanted to talk about. Dawn Smoke says, I'm going to be moving to the Lakeside Chapala area in 2 or 3 years, and my daughter is going down there this winter to check it out for me. I'll be renting since my pension is only $1,400 a month. I'm arthritic and I have a hard time walking any distance, so the more I studied up on Ajijic, the more it just sounded right for me. I live simple and my needs beyond pain medications are low. I've heard that there has been such a huge influx of foreigners that housing prices are going sky high. My dream of just a wee, lovely 2-bedroom place that I can afford to rent on my pension seems to be floating away. Is this a reality? Yep. When I came down here in 2001 and started looking at properties, realtors kept saying, oh, you got to buy now or you're going to get priced out of the market because the baby boomers are coming. And the fact is that they have. The traffic here is way different when I'm going across town than it was when I moved here. Well, there are a lot more people here. When I was first looking at houses in 2002, 2003, one of the things that I said to my wife was, if we buy something here, we better like it because we'll never sell it. Well, that's not true anymore. Prices of real estate are going up. Prices of rentals are going up. So, can this guy come down here in 2 or 3 years and live on his $1,400 a month pension? The answer to that question is different. The answer is yes. Here's the deal. In any real estate market, it's location, location, location. And ground zero for location here at Lakeside is the plaza in Ajijic. So if you want to come down here in 2 or 3 years and live on $1,400 a month and rent a 2-bedroom place in downtown Ajijic or on the lake, I don't think that's going to happen. But that doesn't mean it can't happen for you to find a place that's affordable. As you move out from the plaza in Ajijic, the real estate prices, whether you're buying or renting, and also the prices of other things, health care, food, whatever, it begins to get much, much more affordable as you move away from downtown Ajijic. Ajijic is a famous retirement place, and there are a lot of expats there who don't worry about the price of things, and they're willing to pay. And the competition. There's also competition for real estate prices from a city 40 miles away called Guadalajara of 5 million people. And there are a lot of very well-to-do people in Guadalajara that can afford to pay whatever it takes. So it fuels the real estate market here. Another thing that fuels the real estate market here, by the way, I'm not a realtor, but I've owned a lot of properties in the past, not in Mexico. Another thing that fuels the real estate market here is the exchange rate. Now, in 2007, 2008, we were having, houses weren't selling here because of the economic crisis in the United States, and the value of the Canadian dollar had dropped. So Canadians weren't coming. Traffic wasn't bad in January. Point is that the exchange rate right now is about 19 to 1 for peso to the US dollar. And that fuels the real estate market also. It fuels the rental market. Because if the exchange rate is real high, you get a lot more people coming because it's a good deal. So, can the guy come and live here in $14 to $100 a month 2 or 3 years from now? Yes, but he won't be living in downtown Ajijic. If you go out to Chapala, which is from Ajijic 6 kilometers east, or you go to San Juan Cosala, which is 4 kilometers west, or Jocotepec, which is 12 kilometers west, the prices become a lot more affordable. So the next part of his question is, I think Ajijic is the place because it's convenient to everything, and I have arthritis and I can't walk very well. A lot of Mexicans do not have a car. They use public transportation. And so, no matter where you are, there's public transportation that's affordable and convenient to get from wherever you are to wherever you need to go. So I wouldn't worry about not being able to walk, and so thinking the solution to that is to live in downtown Ajijic where everything is convenient. Everything is convenient. I'm a mile from the plaza, but I'm only a half a block from the bus. And I'm only about 30 feet from the phone that brings the cab. So I wouldn't worry about that part of his question about I have arthritis and so I need to be somewhere that's convenient to get to everything. So is it a reality that prices are going up and your dream is floating away? Prices are going up. Your dream is not floating away. You just can't live in downtown Ajijic. I was told that I would have to leave Mexico every 6 months and stay out 6 months before I return. Is there truth to this? He's talking about a tourist visa. And you can get a permission to be in the country. It's called a visa, a tourist visa. And you can get it for up to 180 days. It is not true, to the best of my knowledge, that you have to be gone for 6 months before you can re-enter the country of Mexico. Now, let me preface whatever else I say in the rest of this video and every video I ever do from now on that I am not an attorney in Mexico. And what I say may be wrong. So Google it to get current information, because that's the other thing. With regard to immigration laws and coming and going in the country and a whole bunch of other things, the laws change all the time. I've lived here under 3 different immigration laws, and they're very different. So anyway, what I say, if you're listening to this, in July of 2018, it may or may not be true. If you're listening to it in 2020, it's probably for sure not true, because the laws change. The other thing that changes is the exchange rate. If I tell you that it costs this much per year to live in the country to get a temporary visa, well, it's not going to be the same if you're listening to this a year from now. Well, that was the preface. What was I going to say? He wanted to know, did he have to leave every 6 months? It's not a law, to the best of my knowledge. But there is a thing about it. Some people live here on a tourist visa. A very good friend lived here on a tourist visa and never got a permanent residence. And they did that because they also had a home in the United States, and they would come down here for 6 months, and then they would go back there for 6 months, and then they would come down here for 6 months. And that's perfectly okay. Mexico has no problem with that. But if you want to live here full time, Mexico wants you to get a residence visa. And a residence visa is different than a tourist visa. So here's the deal with coming and going every 6 months or having to stay out of the country 6 months. You don't have to stay out of the country 6 months, but if you go out one gate at the border and come back in the other one and they notice, they're going to hassle you or try to deny you entry back into the country because they figure out you're just doing a border run, it's called, or a visa run, and they don't want you to do that. They don't want you to live here on a tourist visa. So, the answer to your question is no, you don't have to be out of here 6 months, but you don't go out one gate, come back in the other, and talk to the same guy coming and going. Go visit your relatives for 3 or 4 days, or go up to San Marcos in Texas and go shopping at the outlet mall, or something like that. Don't just come and go for the purpose of getting a new tourist visa. Although that might work, it's not the way you're supposed to do it. So my advice is don't do it that way. If you want to live here full time, you should get, to begin with, a temporary residence permit. It's called temporal. And again, this may or may not be the way it works when you listen to this. When I did it, you got a temporal for 4 years, and it costs about $300 a year. And the prices go up, and the price for you goes up and down because of the exchange rate. Keep that in mind. $300 a year, and you had to renew it every year, and then after you did that for 4 years, you could apply for a permanent residency, and after you get permanent, that's permanente, your immigration status, you don't have to ever do it again until they change the laws. So $300 a year, and I think now at this time you can buy up to 4 years at a time, so you don't have to go and do the process every year. And then once you are permanente, like I said, you don't have to do it again at all. It costs money, and there are financial requirements. And again, those change, so don't hold me to this, but when I did it, it was a couple of $1,000s per month per person in order to get a temporary permit. The financial requirements for becoming permanente were about the same, a little more complicated. If you own a property, you got a discount, and if you had a relative that was a Mexican, it was different. And it's a very complicated thing that changes all the time. So Google it and get current information if you're planning on coming to live in Mexico. Continuing with his 2 paragraphs, I'm looking for stability, getting rid of Canadian health care and buying Mexican health care and renting a place to be a full-time home. I know I need to get a permanent residence card for that. Is there a way to expedite that? Health insurance is a long subject, but I'll be really quick about it. There are 3 kinds that you should think about. There are many different kinds, but the 3 kinds that I would talk about would be private health care insurance, where you can just buy it. And you can buy it as a tourist. You can buy it, before you come to the country. You can buy it in the country. It'll cover you for going to private hospitals and private clinics and private doctors. Private health insurance, just like you would buy your private health insurance anywhere else in the United States. The second kind would be government health insurance, and there are 2 kinds of government health insurance. One of them is called IMSS, that's EAMS, and I have EAMS insurance. Lynn and I both do, and it costs us about $350 a year currently. Actually, it was more than that. It was 9,000 pesos, which is like $450. It's more if you're older and less if you're younger. that's the other kind of insurance, and we enjoy that. I use it as catastrophic insurance if I'm doing some regular kind of stuff, like that video I made last week. I just go to the private doctor and pay for it. If I had something really, really serious, then I would either use it or I would be taken to the United States for my Medicare and a Medicare supplement. Lynn gets her meds from IMSS, and that's a great financial benefit for us. And it's one of the reasons that we got that policy in the first place. The other policy, the third kind, is also government insurance, and that's called Seguro Popular. There is no yearly premium that I know of, but you may or may not be charged according to your ability to pay if you're like in the hospital or something. Those three kinds of insurance are available private if you're a tourist, temporal, or permanente, no problem. You have to be at least a temporal residency status in order to get IMSS or Seguro Popular. And of course, if you're a permanente, you can get any of those. So if your plan, according to this question, was to get rid of your Canadian healthcare insurance, I'm not Canadian, but I think if you're out of Canada for 6 months, you lose your Canadian healthcare insurance. And buying Mexican, if you're buying private, you don't have to wait. You can just buy it as a private citizen, even if you're on a tourist visa. Is there a way to expedite becoming a permanente? I already talked about that. I didn't. To expedite getting your residency status in Mexico, you can start it at any Mexican consular office anywhere in the world. And then, so you start the process there, and then once you come to Mexico, you have a certain time period in which to finalize the process at the immigration office where you're going to live in Mexico. Our immigration office here is in Chapala. And how do I handle the Canadian tax ban so I still receive my pension, and what about the Mexican tax man? Well, first of all, I'm not Canadian, so what I say about that may or may not be true. And what about the Mexican tax man? Well, you don't have to worry about the Mexican tax man if you're not making any money in Mexico. If you're living on a Canadian pension or a U.S. pension or funds that you get by whatever means outside of the country of Mexico, there's no tax consequence in Mexico. So you don't have to worry about the Mexican tax man if you're getting a Canadian pension. With regard to filing your tax returns, and again, I'm not Canadian, but I have to file federal U.S. tax returns, and I do that here with TurboTax online. I still have a relationship with a CPA in Portland, Oregon, and if I have a question that TurboTax isn't giving me the answer I want, I talk to him. But I file it online. Now, there are local people who will do your tax returns, your U.S. tax returns here, and you can file them with them, and they take care of getting it filed in the United States. So, and I'm sure that the same service is available for Canadians. So what about the Canadian or the U.S. tax man? That's how I do it, or that's how you can do it if you want somebody else to help you fill out the returns. Services are available here at Lakeside for doing that, or you can do it yourself online.
Hey, if you like me, give me one of those thumbs up. And please subscribe and hit that little bell so you know when I post next. Please share me with your friends on social media. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed what was on my mind today.